It's Sunday, February 27th. My name is Kevin Menzel, and I'd like to welcome you to my recording project video diary. So this morning I woke up a little bit earlier than I was anticipating. My alarm doesn't go off for another hour or so, and I've been awake for at least 3 hours at this point. I'm working on a cover of Starfield's Filled With Your Glory. Stylistically, it's going to sound like a cross between U2 with a little bit of polyphonic spree thrown in there. That's not all in there yet. Obviously, all I have right now is the strings. I'm sure you'll be able to hear the U2 sort of Streets Have No Name inspiration in this. My process goes something like this. First, I figure out in my mind what I want to hear, an important first step. Then I take pencil to paper. Somewhere lying around are the original pieces of paper that I penciled in some rough notes on. My initial thought was to do the piece in the key of G. However, for string sounds, I don't actually have myself a string orchestra. I'm using a sampler program called Native Instruments Contact 4. It has a string library included with it, the Vienna Symphonic Library, VSL strings, and those strings have weird artifacts that appear in some of the high notes in the key of G. So recently I've moved that to F. Even though I wasn't using actual string players, I wanted to make this as realistic as possible. So instead of working from a single group string sound, I broke out what I wanted to do into 8 parts. So what I've done is I've started with 5 parts. They start out moving pretty slowly, and then it builds, and some of the parts go off and have a little bit more interesting stuff going on. I've tried to keep it simple. Ultimately, there's going to be drums and guitar over top of all of this, so I didn't want to make it too complicated. So my arrangement is for 2 sections of violin, 2 sections of viola, 2 sections of cello, and 2 sections of bass. It's a pretty full sound when everything gets put together. Then I went into the computer, fixing up a few problems here and there where some of the voices and chords didn't work out quite like I thought they would in my head. And the result of that is here on this paper. As you can see, I have more than 8 parts on that. There is also an organ part that I've worked out, and then there's a bass pad part as well that just sort of fills out the sound. Those parts I haven't actually moved to a new project that I started recently yet. What you'll hear today is just strings. You can see that there's some orange highlighter on this printout. And the orange highlighter indicates that I had moved those parts from the second run of paper, this time printed out from Sonar, to the new project that I've been working on. I've checked all of my arrangements, not only in notation view, but also in a piano roll view, which let me make sure that the voices weren't crossing over too often. And it also gave me a nice overview of sort of what elements of any chord I was missing in my string part. As I was doing the new conversion into the computer, I also added a bit more movement to the strings, so the string part that I'll let you listen to today is actually a little more dynamic, a little more moving. Especially the cellos have a lot more movement in them. They used to just be long sustained notes, still pretty sustained, but at this point there is just a little bit of movement. So I entered that in. I've done all of this work so far with nothing but my mouse as my main entry tool. What I haven't done so far is do any work on dynamics. That'll come later. I'm hoping to, down the road, purchase a product called Cubase 6 by Steinberg. They have a fantastic new feature which lets you do all sorts of cool things with dynamics in a much more musical way and a less technological way. Hopefully that'll help me get a natural, realistic sounding string sound that reflects different parts coming in and out so that I can really feature the different sections. At this point though, why don't we just go ahead and listen to it?